When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos and updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. This is part 1 of What If Deku Caught the Eye of a Vampire. If it wasn't obvious enough, in the first part, Lancelot is supposed to be Deku in this. He's just taking place of Lancelot, my version of Lancelot in the Fate series. It's not going to be a direct copy of the original character in Fate, but it differs how I made him and his motives. Like I said in the previous part, Fate will be implemented in some way or fashion in this. Now, let's continue where we last left off in our story. Sister Victoria launched herself towards Flint. Do apologize for that. The YouTube accidentally popped on while I was recording. No, let's continue. Flint saw her initial movement when she launched herself at him, but despite his best efforts, he couldn't keep up with the crazy nun. He could only get ready to absorb the hit by crossing his blades together in a X formation, ready for the impact. When Sister Victoria was visible once again, Flint was sent skidding backwards as Victoria grind her shadow sword against his dual curved blades, actually forcing Flint on one knee when he finally stopped moving. He tried to push their weapons apart, only for none to increase the pressure. Having trouble there, big guy? Allow me to help you. She viciously kicked Flint in the stomach, sent him flying into several nearby large wooden barrels. Flint rolled onto his stomach and began to cough out spit from the lack of air in his lungs from being kicked in the stomach so hard. Flint struggled to get on his feet and use his large swords as support as he dug them into the ground. Flint ground his teeth, then immediately shot out a magical fireball out of his hand. Most people would believe a bandit leader would be too stupid, unable to use magic. Flint's a lot of things. Stupid is not one of them. He might not be a magus, but he knows a little bit of elemental magic. Fire is the only type of element magic that he knows. It's only elemental magic he has a high affinity for. Sister Victoria caught the fireball in her hands. The bright yellow fireball turned into a purplish black color, turned into basically a black fireball in mere seconds. I wasn't expecting that from a beast like you. How quaint. You know magic. Here, you could have this back. Suddenly the blackish purplish fireball blasted towards Flint. Flint barely had enough time to roll out of the way, as several of his men were eradicated by the black fireball when it exploded. How? It's quite simple, you savage. You're an amateur. It was quite easy for me to take control over your spell and use it against you, and adding more power. by infusing my magic in your little spell. It's not really all that hard or difficult to do. You would have known about this method if you had any amount of proper training, you disgusting, foul beast. But I dragged this off long enough. I think it's time we end things. I'm getting quite parched. She flickered out of existence. Then Flint felt a sharp pain in his chest. When he looked down to see what happened, he saw the nun. She had her entire arm plunged into his chest as she ripped out his heart, as she raised it above her head. Then she began to squeeze slightly as the blood begins to pour out of the heart, dripping into her mouth. When she had her fill, she tossed the human heart to the side and immediately lunged at the rest of the bandits as Flint fell to the ground as he sees his minions or his men being killed one by one by the nun, draining their blood one after another as he slowly closes his eyes and finally dies. The rest of the bandits tried to escape. Sister Victoria foresaw this happening, so she planned accordingly, immediately activated her red magical barrier using blood magic, trapping everyone inside, sealing their fate. Sister Victoria began to slaughter them, either by drinking their blood or snapping their neck, or plunging her shadow blade into their heart. It didn't take her long to finish off the remaining 100 men. When she was done, she set everything on fire, destroying all the evidence that transpired here tonight. The last thing she needs is some wandering humans to stumble upon her handiwork. When she was satisfied with everything nice and destroyed, she made her way back to the orphanage. She immediately went into her room to freshen up. As she went to Mother Cassandra's office to give her report, Mother Cassandra heard 3 soft knocks on her door to her office. Enter. Sister Victoria slowly closed the door behind her. It's done, Mother Cassandra. Good. I hope they didn't give you too much trouble. Nothing of the sort. The beast leader was able to use magic, though. I found that quite amusing. Magic, you say? From a mere bandit? That's quite laughable. But I know you're not one to lie. In truth, he did use magic. Not very strong. I'm guessing he has some sort of type of fire affinity. He didn't demonstrate any other talents in magic besides one fireball that I easily countered and redirected back at him. You are known for churning other spell users' spells against them. I suppose I am. If there's anything else, I'm gonna take my leave. I need to check up on little Lancelot. You're free to leave. Sister Victoria entered Lancelot's room, noticing his window is wide open, so she walked over there and gently closed the window and re-tucked him in with the blankets to make sure he wasn't cold. As she sat down by a nearby chair and began reading. After she was done reading, she placed a couple of blood seals around the room for the young boy's own protection and quickly left the room. Victoria can't wait to get this mission over with. She doesn't enjoy dressing as a nun. It's too restricting for her taste. She's not like her other vampire female friends that is known to wear quite revealing outfits. She keeps her wardrobe mostly modest. Despite her young looks, She is quite old in terms of vampire age. She's far past from being a newborn. New bloods are younger vampires either by being born or being churned, but turning a human into a vampire is forbidden. There hasn't been one in centuries, and the punishment for breaking that specific law is grave. They will immediately be killed alongside with their sire, and the turned vampire is something vampires do not want to trespass. After she was finished with her duty, she started to get breakfast ready for the children. While cooking breakfast, she was reminiscing the first time she saw Lancelot. Flashback, 6 years ago, the night of Lancelot's arrival, Sister Victoria heard a knock at the orphanage door. She opened the main door of the chapel to see nothing but a small basket with a small child inside. She looked around to see if anyone was nearby. She didn't find any note, so she picked up the small child out of the basket and held the baby in her arms, while her other hand grabbed hold of the basket and made her way inside the orphanage. Those are interesting eyes you have for a human. And I can see your hair growing in odd patches. White in color. Quite unique. And normally human skin are not this pale. I would almost mistake you for a vampire, if it wasn't for your smell. Victoria figured he would lose that color after a while. She's not an expert when it comes to human children, or babies in general. When they're first born, she knows they tend to sometimes change their hair color and eye color when they're an infant. So she figured this was a normal thing, even though the baby has red eyes. She's never seen a human before with red eyes before. There you are, Sister Victoria. What's that? It's a little baby that I found in a basket in front of the door of the orphanage. I couldn't sense anyone. Hand over the child and prepare for our new arrival's room. Sister Victoria hand over the small child over to Mother Cassandra. Sister Victoria went to go prepare their room for the small baby, setting up the crib in the middle of the room and making sure the room is livable for a small child. Mother Cassandra is well versed when it comes to human babies, so she knows how to handle them, but she found it odd that this specific baby did not cry, scream, or make a peep. At first she thought it was dead, but it was clearly still alive as his bright crimson eyes were gauging his surroundings. And for that behavior for a baby is extremely not normal. And that's not even including his unique eye color and patches of white hair on the small baby scalp and his pale looking skin. She could almost mistake him for a young vampire. Because they're an orphanage, they have access to breast milk in storage, so they have plenty of milk to feed the small child until it's able to eat solid food. Is everything ready, Sister Victoria? It is, Mother Cassandra. Cassandra handed over the small baby over to Victoria. This child wasn't in the original plans, but no matter. He is your responsibility. I would be delighted if there's anything else. But there's something about this one. I can't really put my finger on it. But I could tell he's unique. as she held the baby in a loving way, as she carried the small child off. "I'll be off, Mother Cassandra. He doesn't have a name, I suppose." "Not yet. I couldn't find anything in the basket, so I'll leave the naming the child to you. What's a good name, I wonder, for this little one? Ah, this sounds proper. From now on, little one, you're going to be named Lancelot." As Sister Victoria finally walked off, end of flashback, she was taken out of her inner thoughts by a couple of children running through the kitchen. "No running, you two." The children immediately stopped running and began to walk out of the kitchen normally. They know better to cause trouble around Sister Victoria. Unlike Mother Cassandra, Sister Victoria is a lot more lenient towards the children. Despite her kinder interaction with the children, she's more than willing to dish out proper discipline when they get out of line. The only child who hasn't experienced that in the entire orphanage is Lancelot. He's always been a well-behaved child, so she never had a problem with him outside of him sneaking out of bed at dead of night, but she finds his antics to be amusing half the time. Thinking he could sneak around the orphanage without being detected, unfortunately for him, his caretakers are vampires, pureblood vampires at that, so there is no chance of him sneaking around them without them noticing. Everything's been quite normal for Lancelot. He's had no interruptions during his time in the library outside of Sister Victoria popping her head in occasionally, but most of the time he's been with Sister Victoria is out there in the garden, practicing with the wooden sword and continuing to learn the sword stance that Victoria's been teaching him. A month later, he started to get vivid dreams, almost nightmares of some sort of endless void. Lancelot could never forget the first time he dreamed of this endless void, as we fan into a flashback. One night, Lancelot had a vivid dream. He found himself in the endless dark void. Nothing could be seen in the distance but the emptiness of the shadows of the void. As those shadows begin to form into human shape, Lancelot couldn't see their faces. Their faces were covered or concealed by the shadow-like cloak, concealing their identities as they begin to hover around Lancelot in a circle, as they all begin to talk all at once in a disordered voice. The mixture between female voices and male voices. When heaven and hell clash. When the spark of the void come into existence, the void walker will walk the earth. When the righteous angel's feathers begin to darken and turn into nightshade black. When the void walker finally awakens, the seal will be broken and the void will ravage the earth, as all life of earth will cease to exist, becoming part of the void. Lancelot was immediately woken up after breathing heavy. End of flashback. He's had the same dream every night. The dream never differs, it always remains the same. One night, after a week since he had his last dream of the emptiness of the void, he was in his room reading using a candle he got from the kitchen, so he has plenty of light to read, even though he can see in the dark. He prefers to use actual light to read. Unbeknownst to Lancelot, his peaceful time at the orphanage is going to come to a deadly halt. We fan out of the main gate of the orphanage as you can see several glowing yellow eyes right at the edge of the forest, surrounding the orphanage on all sides. The glowing yellow eyes turn into a group of werewolves that have some sort of glowing cross in the middle of their forehead that seem to be under someone's control that can't be seen. The magical cross is in the middle of a magical circle, glowing in a complex magical sigil. Above the forest, you can see a figure hovering in the sky, as his identity was concealed by the clouds. The clouds begin to depart as a figure hovering in the sky was revealed as an angel in silver, gold, and white armor, hovering in the sky, controlling the werewolves, and begin to order them to surround the entire orphanage on all sides. The angel warrior only has one purpose here tonight, is to eradicate the void spawn. It was very well known in heaven, if you come across any half-breeds of the void demons, they're to be eliminated on sight. The fact that heaven almost overlooked this one, not only that, but he's going to smite the vampires, betraying themselves as none, is blasphemous in his eyes. Should have known that void spawn would attract those blood-sucking parasites. For the life of me, I don't understand why Father doesn't eradicate them. It's almost time. Enjoy your last moments of void spawn, because it's going to be your last. As the warrior angel officially command all of the werewolves to attack all at once, as all of their glowing sigil begin to glow a bright gold color, initiating his attack. Mother Cassandra and Sister Victoria did sense the werewolf's approach. It's not hard for them to miss, considering the scent of a werewolf, especially a group of them. So they easily smelt them before they even got close. They got somewhat of a warning beforehand. Mother Cassandra is going to hold them off long enough for Sister Cassandra to take the children to the safe rooms underneath the orphanage. Then immediately call for reinforcements. Several werewolves came bursting into the chapel, where Mother Cassandra was patiently waiting for them. Mother Cassandra was a bit irritated as her eyebrows was beginning to twitch, as the door to the chapel was completely destroyed by the two mindless beasts. She's always had a low opinion of werewolves. They're barbaric savages in her eyes. So she has no problem killing them with prejudice. She immediately targeted one of the werewolves by ducking under a claw swipe from the werewolf, then grabbed the wrist of the werewolf to her right and swung him out of the window of the chapel. Then Mother Cassandra immediately did a spin kick, hitting the other werewolf into several of the wooden benches in the chapel. Mother Cassandra extended her arm out towards her side as a sword came falling out of her sleeve, of the sleeve of her uniform, as she caught the blood sword in her hand, immediately charged the recovering werewolf. The werewolf immediately charged at Mother Cassandra, only for Mother Cassandra to chop the head off the werewolf, killing it instantly. It can't regenerate itself if it doesn't have a head. That's why werewolves are so difficult to kill. You either have to chop their head off or pierce their heart. They'll just simply regenerate because of their healing factor. Their healing factor is second to vampires, but they're still a pain in the ass to kill. The second werewolf that was sent out of the window came charging back through the window, only for Mother Cassandra to use the nearby blood from the werewolf that she just killed to create a blood spear in her opposite hand and chug it at the airborne werewolf before the werewolf could even land into the chapel. It was thrown right back out of the window by pure force of the blood spear, as the dead werewolf was plunged into the ground outside of the orphanage window. Mother Cassandra leaped out of the window and plunged her blood sword into the heart of the werewolf to make sure it's dead, then immediately chopped off his head. Mother Cassandra noticed she just walked into an ambush, as there were several werewolves stalking and surrounding her on all sides. Meanwhile, Sister Victoria is dodging several werewolves as she's running through the hallway, as she's running onto the wall. As all the other kids are safe in the safe room, except for Lancelot. He should be fine in his room, but she needs to get to his location. She highly doubt those blood seals will keep out the werewolves for long. It's good to not put those blood seals beforehand. But he should be fine, but I need to get to him as fast as possible. 3 werewolves. Werewolves are not normal. In those magical sigils that was branded on their forehead, they're clearly being controlled. And the magical sigils are holy in nature. I hope whoever is responsible for this is not who I think it is, or what it is. Last thing we need is one of those blasted angels around here. She saw 2 werewolves trying to break into Lancelot's room, only to be stopped by the blood seal, as a magic barrier appeared right in front of the entryway of the room. Sister Victoria began to run on the side of the wall as she created several shadow daggers in her hands and leaped off the wall using the wall as a springboard as she go into a 180 spin above the werewolves and threw her shadow daggers that turned into several as the werewolves were bombarded by shadow daggers, killing them instantly. But before she could do anything else, more werewolves begin to appear. Damn it, you're like cockroaches. Sister Victoria hopped out of the way from a claw slash from a charging werewolf. Victoria kicked the werewolf that charged at her into the wall of the large hallway. Victoria immediately plunged a shadow sword into the werewolf's chest. Then she immediately karate chopped the head off of the werewolf, off his body, then yanked out her sword out of the werewolf's chest. She spun around to engage several more charging werewolves, with all the same kind of magical holy sigil on the top of their foreheads. Meanwhile, Lancelot was having his own issues. two of the werewolves managed to overpower one of the blood magical circles that was above his window. As the werewolves managed to overpower the blood ward and came through the window, eventually finally getting into the room, as the two werewolves begin to stalk the young Lancelot, ready to pounce on their prey. Before the werewolves could attack, Sister Victoria burst through the door and threw shadow daggers into the skulls of the two werewolves inside the room, and picked up Lancelot in her arms and bolted out of the room by jumping out of the window, breaking through the remaining window that hasn't been broken into. At the same time, Mother Cassandra met up with Sister Victoria, as Victoria landed right next to her. Before they could do anything else, they noticed something flying down with incredible speed, and by the look of it, it's moving fast. The angel warrior finally landed on one knee, as his two angel wings made a slight gust of wind, blowing all the nearby debris out of the way. The angel slowly stood up to his feet and pointed his golden sword at the vampires. "Hand over the void spawn, and I might smite you without causing you pain. It's a mercy that many of your filthy species don't deserve. Take care of the child. I'll take care of the angel. Are you insane?" "I don't think so." As the angel plunged his sword into the ground, as the whole area was engulfed into a golden barrier, "None of you will escape my wrath. I will cleanse what souls you have of the corruption. It's more than you deserve, parasite and void spawn." Mother Cassandra was curious about the void spawn remark, but she can't think of it right now. She immediately get ready for combat. So did Sister Victoria. After Victoria sat Lancelot behind a large nearby tree in the garden area of the orphanage they're currently in, both vampires brandished their own weapons. Mother Cassandra was using her blood sword, while Sister Victoria was using a shadow blade. Of course, the angel is using his angelic golden sword that radiates high cadence holy energy from it. The angel pointed his angelic weapon at the two vampire nuns. The angelic sword begins to glow a bright gold color as he's beginning to charge holy energy, as a humongous wave of golden light shoot from the tip of his sword, flying towards the two vampires. Victoria and Cassandra jump out of the way of the holy energy blast. Victoria slid to the right, while Cassandra slid to the left. Both female vampires charged at the angel on both sides. When Victoria and Cassandra got close enough, they both released a wave of black fire, using a demonic fire spell, engulfing the angel. Cassandra and Victoria's eyes widened when the angel casually walked out of the flames, not hurt whatsoever, not even a mark on his holy armor. One simple swing of his wings, as all of the demonic fire all dissipate all at once. Victoria was the first one to act. She launched herself in close range and thrust her shadow blade into the chest of the angel. Her blade immediately shattered when it made contact with the angel's armor. The angel just stood there, not reacted one bit, not even bothered. Like an ant was trying to bite him. Cassandra thrusts her own weapon at the angel, only to get the same results as Victoria, as her weapon shattered. As well, both vampires jump backwards to get some distance, as they created new blades to replace their shattered ones. Known to the angel and the two vampires, the shadow that Lancelot is casting is getting bigger. A singular glowing silver eye appeared in the shadow of Lancelot, as his razor-sharp teeth is out for display, as a shadow creature. Shadow creature can be seen until in Lancelot's shadow, smiling sinisterly, staring at the angel with hunger in his eyes. That's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day, judged by time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.